Now, tell me, Bartosz, you have been teaching 70 students a week. You've launched your jazz career in Toronto, and you're maybe going to be working out of a church pretty soon. Tell me about the next quick plans for you.
The plan definitely is to play more and teach less. That's the first plan, and get a little bit more time on my hands just to be able to do more music, creative stuff.
And are you going to still be practicing at 2 a.m. kind of thing?
Trying to stay away from it, trying to move into more productive times during the day, but we'll see how it works out.
And another record in the works, maybe?
Yeah, at least two. One solo and one ensemble, trio, quartet maybe. We'll see.
More gigs in Toronto, in the jazz scene in Toronto?
That's definitely a plan. I gig at the Train Studio coming up, and a few more in the future in the works.
Getting back to New York to play some gigs down there, hopefully?
That would be ideal. At some point, definitely yes.
You've been back in Poland, playing with some local guys in Poland recently. Tell me about that and how much fun that is.
It was extremely, well received, good times, great players. Some may say even legendary Polish players, and I don't know, fun time. Looking forward to actually going back to Poland and playing some more with them, maybe even recording.
And are you writing on a constant basis? How often do you find yourself composing music?
I'm trying as often as I can, actually. Every time I sit, by the piano, I try to come up with something and see if it goes anywhere.
And do you evaluate the progress on a daily basis or in the moment, or do you just write, or what are your criteria for establishing whether something is good or a value? How do you look at the creative process?
Well, I'm kind of a monk guy. I always look for something new, something that I haven't used yet, something that I haven't, used in my compositions. New stuff on the piano. I almost try not to think theory at all when I compose. I just put my hands on the piano and look for the best sounds I can get out of it.
So you're not writing with a pencil in hand, or you are?
No, definitely not. I put everything in my memory, and then when it works, I finally put it on the paper.
And does that count for arranging as well, when you're arranging for somebody, say string parts?
No, when I arrange, I actually use Finale software to do that.
And then you just email the results to the right.
To whoever ordered it. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're playing with other musicians and they're asking you to play, you're learning just based on charts, or how do you absorb the material? Is it from memory primarily?
I love charts. I love looking at them and coming up with my own idea about this. I know that people appreciate it when you work on it a little bit more. You come to the studio or to the gig with something worked out, they really like it. And so that I try to arrange as many things as I can just to give them an option of what they might like.
And in church, you're reading the hymns themselves, the parts for the organ, or do you just have that stuff memorized, or how do you approach playing in church?
In church, I have to sing and play. So the way it works, I basically read the line with my voice and arrange, the chords, whatever it is for my hands and foot, right? Just to make it all work, and so it doesn't interfere with when I'm singing.
And you actually, do you practice the organ stuff, or does it really matter? Do you need to be on piano all the time, or do you put your piano on organ settings and with foot pedals and to get into the organ frame of mind?
When I practice these things for the church, I only use organ sounds just to get used to the fact that I will not have a sustain pedal, just to get used to these things and be very economical with my fingers, make sure I don't have to jump and do things, and to arrange it as smoothly as possible.
And tell me about the rest of your plans, say for the rest of this year and into next year. Will you be playing live as much as you can, back in the studio, writing, just a lot more creative?
I would love to, yeah. Definitely play as much as I can, meet even more people now in Toronto, and try to explore and see, what kind of music can be made, in other words.
Right, and you're doing experimental type of music as well, kind of jazz, electric, jazz, fusion, kind of all across the board, right?
Well, everything, yeah, that stimulates creativity.
Oh, I love that answer. That's great. Okay, so we've covered the studio, we've covered live, we've covered practicing, we've covered teaching, we've covered other professional ambitions. Tell me just a little bit to recap about your typical week teaching, what it's been like the past couple of years. 70 students a week, how do you do that?
It involves group teaching, so it all, pretty much comes down to solo students, private students, half-an-hour lessons, or hourly lessons with a group. So, numbers that way quickly add up, and it's 5 days of teaching, so, possibilities are endless.
Yeah. And what about your own education, leading up to getting scholarships and stuff in the States? In Poland, you were studying, where is it? Was it Chopin Institutes type of thing, conservatories?
I was in my, studying in my hometown for 12 years.
In Poland?
In Poland, yeah, in my hometown, doing, it's 2 degrees, I want to say primary and secondary musical school. And then I went to Ukraine to continue classical music and study that at the conservatory in Odessa, in Ukraine. And I finally moved to US in 1998 to study jazz at Western Michigan University.
And you were how old?
Michigan. I was 21 when I arrived in US.
And then you moved to New York after that?
Right after I finished school in 2003, I went to New York.
Yeah, and 6 years later, you're here in Toronto.
7 years almost after that, yeah.
Right. And busy as ever.
Trying my best, honestly. Anything that, that helps me grow, musically speaking, I'll take anything.